Hey guys, so today I'm sitting down with Stetson Frost. You guys are probably familiar with the Lane Frost brand. This is the man behind the brand. So he's also got a lot of other things going on at Cowboy Hustle, Rodeo Hustle, Oklahoma State Collection, Stilly Boys, Lane Frost documentary they did a few years ago, right? And then Frost Properties, where he has some construction and rental property stuff, right? So I appreciate you sitting down with me, Stetson.
Thanks for having me, man.
You bet. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history?
Well, born and raised in Atoka, lived here my whole life. I'll be 40 this year. That's when age starts creeping up like that, you start processing, man, did I do enough with those years I had already? But I'm the oldest of 7. I've got several step siblings and some half siblings, and so I had to grow up fast. I was raised in town with my mom. There's 5 siblings in the home. We were, pretty poor. We were, welfare roaches. Mom had a few side jobs, but just didn't do too much to push herself too hard. So we had to learn a kind of hard knocks life. But grew up, went to school at Eastern Oklahoma State. Got my associates. In the midst of that, I was working at U.S. Cellular. And started doing really well there. I figured out the algorithm on how to sell their internet packages and upgrade phones. And I was making really good money there. So I halted my college career. As soon as I got my associates, I was like, well, I'm making $90,000 a year at 20 years old. Why would I keep going to college? Probably should have kept going, but I didn't. But I just had this fire of how far can I go wherever I'm at. And I realized quickly that, once you max out your potential, you can't really go anywhere else. So it took me a while to figure out my path. I had oddball jobs, had a nutrition grant. I worked for the state through here on a nutrition grant. And then I fell in love with my wife. She was in hygiene school in Oklahoma City. She's from here. Her parents own a restaurant here called El Adobe. A little shout out to El Adobe there.
Yeah.
But she was in hygiene school, and my grant was switching from an open grant to basically you had to be a DHS employee to work for the grant. So I wasn't a DHS employee. I only had associates. I think her man was a bachelor. So I jumped ship and I moved to Oklahoma City, and basically was there for my girlfriend at the time, but my wife while she went through school. So went down there with nothing. I mean, just a prayer and some love. So I had a friend that had a print shop. They printed shirts in El Reno. So I actually just got a job there. And initially I had been stewing on the idea of doing this and didn't know how to, form it or make it happen. And I talked to my grandmother, my aunts, kind of got their blessing on what I was wanting to do. And I made a few hats down there while I was working there. I ordered some hats, and it was nice because I got kind of on the back end of screen printing and stuff. So I kind of knew the works and what it took to get your shirts and everything. So lo and behold, I started doing that. And then my wife finished hygiene school, and we didn't know where we wanted to be. She was wanting to be a hygienist, and down here it's pretty sparing. We have one dental office in town. So we moved back, and she had to commute. She had to work in Durant. She had to work in Antlers and McAllister. She was basically part-time at multiple offices. So then we had her son in the midst. So I was, the brand started moving a little bit. And when we had her son, I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I'd fill orders at night. So I'd hang out with him all day. When she'd get off work, I'd pass him to her, and I'd stay up all night and fill orders. And what really launched it was Jim Sharp had Lane's Last Ride hat, and I don't think he really knew it. So they were up in an attic and pulled the box out and opened it up and was like, oh, that's Lane's hat. So I would love to talk to Jim and get the full story on that. But basically what happened was, in the rush of getting Lane to the hospital, and Jim still had to ride, so he was still there. They just gathered up all Lane's things, and that's the hat that hit the dirt and probably got picked up last in that moment. And somehow I got put in a hat box, and I think it was in his mom's attic. And the hat, he had called Clyde Nell, said, hey, I have the hats. He shipped it to him, and I come over to the house, and we open the box, and there's still dirt on it, caked on it from the mud in Cheyenne. It was ominous. Yeah. I mean, you got goosebumps, and I took a picture of it and posted, and everything sold out, 50,000 followers in an hour. I mean, it was nuts. It was like a rare moment. But that's kind of where I like have to quit my day job. And in the midst of that, I was just, doing some stuff because I had to have enough freedom to push the clothing. Plus I watched my son at home. So there was a lot of that. And then here we are, we're on year 11, and we've still never received a loan for the business. It started at $600. It's fruition into this. And now I'm sitting here on a podcast.
Right, no kidding. So that was about 2015, I guess, about when y'all started.
Yes, sir.
So the story behind, most people in Oklahoma know who Lane Frost is, right?
Yes, sir.
So he was your mother's?
Dad's brother.
Dad's brother. Okay. Yep. World champion bull rider back in the 80s. Died in 88, 89? Yeah, 89. Of course, most of us that are of age remember 8 Seconds in the mid 90s, right? That came out. And but Lane was from around Atoka area, right? And then Clyde and Elsie were his parents.
Yes.
Right.
So they moved here. They lived in Utah, kind of vernal area. Elsie's from Colorado. Clyde's from Utah. And Clyde hated the cold. He hates bitter cold. So him and Freckles Brown were traveling partners and best friends back in the day. And Freckles lived in Soper. And in the time frame, Clyde, I guess, had been mentioning he was looking for warmer climate. And there was a ranch or place in Lane, Oklahoma that come up. And this is late 70s. And they bought it and moved down. And people think the town is named after Lane, and it was here long before Lane. It's just
he's named after the town.
Convenience that because they moved down here, and Lane's going into high school when they moved.
Oh, so he's already named Lane.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I mean, he's preteen, and the people just assume he's so famous, the town has to be named after him, but that's not the case. So they moved down here. Lane goes to high school here in Atoka, and like my family still lives here. Robin has her Western Wear store in town. Her husband Mark has a big cattle outfit out in Lane. Clyde and Elsie still live in Lane. My dad and my stepmom, they live in Lane.
Is your dad older or younger than Lane?
So it goes Robin, Lane, and then my dad. So my dad's the baby of the three. And the movie doesn't really promote that because they're trying to get through that cowboy story. Right. So at the very end they show those pictures and it shows kind of all three kids together and stuff like that. But it wasn't really like in the movie they don't even make like had siblings. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, and like Elsie, she's next door right now at my house watching my 3-year-old.
Really?
She comes over every Tuesday, so it's really cool.
That's funny. So Clyde himself was a professional bronc rider.
Yes. So Grandpa Clyde was in the first NFR in 1959.
No kid.
He qualified 5 of the first 6 NFRs. So our PRCA family legacy is from 59 to now because you got so Clyde did his thing. Even Elsie's brother. He did some bronc riding. There's a couple cool pictures of him riding some famous broncs back in the day. And then it goes, so Shane Frost, which is Joe and Josh's dad.
Okay.
He rode pro kind of, I would say he's coming in a little bit after the Lane area. I think that, I don't know how old he is, but I would say he was more 90s. And then boom, you got Joe Frost, Josh Frost, another brother, Jake, the youngest, he's coming up. And then Josh wins the world, last year. So our family's been in it for 59. They talk about these current legacies, and they're all legacies are amazing in any sport. But like, the Frost family, we've been in it since before 59, back when it was the dinosaur club or whatever they called it. But it was before the PRCA was even, it was called something else back then. So we've been in it since the word go.
Rodeo.
Yeah. So it's really cool.
So what made you, like in that 2015, was there something that when you said we need to build a legacy around Lane's name and brand and keep the family name going type deal? Or
so Grandma was real adamant on Lane's faith. Lane got saved late in his career. Him and Kelly had some struggles, and he comes to Grandma and just broken, and he gets saved right there in the living room floor. And him and Kelly make amends and move on, and we're having a good time in life in the process of him passing. And so his faith was big, and that's really important to us. On top of Lane did have such a legacy, and there was really no catalyst or vehicle out there for anybody to, have any type of piece of him. And in this world, and even here recently, there's a lot of bad role models out there.
Sure.
And Lane's story, yeah, he failed, he struggled, but he redeemed himself. Not himself, God redeemed him, but there's redemption there. And most of these stories don't have any redemption or want redemption. They live in their situation, the ride or die, and that's not how it was supposed to be. So in the midst of that, I thought it would always be cool. And again, my entrepreneurial spirit, like I said, I hustled every job I had. I get as far as I could without owning it, and can't take somebody else's business from them. So I always wanted to do something. I didn't know what that was. And come to find out, it became a ball cap company in my uncle's honor that we get to give out Bibles in the midst of it. So
I've heard that too. So I want to talk about that too.
Yes, sir.
Did you have to, like back 10 years, 12 years ago, whatever, there was the name or brand, was his trademark or
so
that whole?
There was lanefrost.com had pre-existed. There was a gentleman that worked with Elsie, and Elsie had Bibles and posters on it. And Elsie being Elsie, they would email this person, say, hey, they want 5 posters signed. She would sign them and send it. I mean, like,
really?
Just very like grassroots, do it, and it was, it was just pretty vague. No one really knew about it unless you stumbled upon it or, so with that was sitting there, there wasn't much activity. And like I said, I wanted to do a ball cap. So I did that, and I talked to that gentleman. So I took the rights to the website. He helped him because he was getting older, didn't want to mess with it. It was kind of it was phasing out on its own. So I bought that not bought the domain. Like I said, he just transferred it over to me, and then started some hats. And like I said, it just started snowballing. Lane's Last Ride hat comes in the midst. And on the Bible side, Elsie had already had the Bible Foundation going, and it was more a lot of just someone call her. I mean, she would just have notes everywhere of someone called, left an address, I need 5 cases here. And we do it in a way, I was trying to find a way to keep it going without almost going in the hole to keep it going.
Right.
So what we do now is, up to 10 Bibles on the website are free. You just pay shipping. And they're not a lot. A case of Bibles weighs 22 pounds. There's 44 in a case. So so while we have it set up is where you pay shipping. So you can go in there and tick up to 10 Bibles in your cart and purchase in your, $8, $9 in shipping. You can't buy a Bible under $1.
Right.
So it's free Bible and shipping. But then on the cases, we sell them at cost. I mean, it's at $2 a Bible. Why we do that is, you'll get someone on there and go and buy 10 cases for free, and then
redistribute them somewhere.
I don't know what they do with them, so we try to keep it to where it breaks even so we can keep it going. So we do sell the cases, but individual Bibles are free. Anytime we're at an event, we take Bibles, set them on the table. You can have them. We do donate cases to stuff. It's just we try to get it. It has to have life to keep going.
Sure.
The Bibles, our cost on the Bibles are $15,000 plus a year. So
wow.
But it's an honor to do that.
Sure. It's a good way to kind of disciple out.
Yes. And as Elsie's aging out, I'm slowly taking the Bibles over, and, she has done it to where she's gotten donations for it. I said, I'm just going to use funds off profits, and we're going to just buy them every year. And we'll give them, the goal is to give as many out. We do 10,000 a year. I think Elsie's given away in her career. It's cool. She gave me her ledger the other day, and it's a handwritten ledger. I'm talking every case she's ever bought the past 25 years.
No kidding.
And I think she's given away over 350,000 Bibles. And
wow.
We got 10,000 in October, and I want to say we have less than 40% left.
Wow. That's pretty neat. I mean, that's a good way to
it's cool.
build discipleship through the business and give back a little bit.
Yeah, we sell hats, but we're a Bible ministry on the back end. People they don't notice it. It's like, I just got 4 free Bibles. They didn't pay attention that I did that through a ball cap company.
I'd be surprised if most people listening or watching knew that.
That's pretty cool.
So when you were saying when you started, you didn't take loans out. We talked about that a little before we started recording. People think you just click a button and hats become reality. How did you build your inventory and the equipment? Because those machines, those embroidery machines and stuff are expensive, right? Do you do it yourself, outsource it?
We outsource that for the fact I did the logistics on all of it, and maintaining a machine, being a good stitcher. I mean, on those you set the settings and push a button, but if you turn around, it can start eating a hat. I mean, it's that quick. So I kind of logistically looked at every option and how that started. I had $600 pretty much to my name, and I was like, how many hats can I get for $600? I said, and I ordered some hats and built this terrible website on Wix. I mean, it just looked like crap. I did not know what I was doing.
Right.
And got it up, launched, took some ugly pictures of the hats, got them on this website, and they started slowly moving. And
where have you always been a creative type person, like the artwork and stuff on some of these? And
I mean, initially, you know, we're using Lane's cattle brand without the mark slash on the bottom. So it's pretty simple logo. And then we started just, you know, color variations, hat styles, and then getting a little more lifestyle, and then changing it up, you know, putting a signature on the front versus the side, things like that. So none of it was like I'm a creator. It was pretty basic. And then as we started growing, then we started bringing in, you know, some artists and stuff like that. And then a lot of times the companies I work with, they'll have in-house artists, so we would get presentations, and I'd, you know, pick them apart to, you know, tailor it to us. And we try to stay pretty vintage, you know, like everything 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
We've been doing that since the beginning. So and it's kind of funny that's all come back now. And I'm like, well, we were there since they, you know, we stayed the course. So
it's cool to have the Western theme, and then it just everyone love, you know, just it's spread beyond just the Western world and the agricultural.
Oh, definitely.
People, it's become a household.
Yeah.
I think everybody's got a Lane Frost brand ball cap.
I hope so.
Right?
I hope so. That's the goal.
Yeah.
But we branched out. We work with Lane Johnson, NFL player, plays for the Eagles. Like I said, we work with Oklahoma State Wrestling, Oklahoma State Rodeo, Oklahoma State University on the ball caps. We've got into wrestling and MMA now. Diego Lopez was wearing some of our stuff on his kind of work up to his fight with Volkanovski this past weekend on UFC in Australia. So we've really branched it out, and the message with Lane Frost brand, you know, he was a man, and it's not just like, oh my God, he's, you know, undeniably the greatest of anything. You know, there's obviously different stats. There's better guys. But his character and how hard work can pay off. That's the end goal is carry yourself well, be good to people, and work your tail off, and you can have things. That's the end message that, you know. The glamour of, oh, look at that cap. Yeah, the cap's cool, but that cap means something. Right. You know what I mean?
The man behind the name.
Yes.
Well, I think, and my dad was, you know, rodeo cowboy, you know, amateur based, but I think people, unless they've seen like movies and stuff or they've been in it, that way of life back then, especially, like there wasn't social media, there wasn't all these deals. Like they traveled to, like him and Tuff and Jim and Cody and those guys, they traveled in a van, slept in the car, right? Probably rodeo 4 or 5 nights a week, right? To make a living.
Oh, and it was word of mouth back then. You didn't have social media. You couldn't say, hey, I'll be here this week. No one knew you're going to be there unless they called, I guess, the office of that rodeo event and said, hey, who's entered? You know,
right.
So there was no way to track that. And these guys were famous word of mouth. They did this before social media. They did this before, you know, they were getting some TV exposure. So George Michael's in the Sports Machine, he really liked Lane. So there towards late in Lane's career, he would always kind of be around and try to interview Lane and get stuff with him. He fell in love with rodeo, so he was a good catalyst for rodeo, but there wasn't much. I mean, they televised, so I think in the 90s, ESPN picked up a little bit, and of course, I'm sure PETA hammered them until they turned it off, but it's just, you know, in the misconception, you know, they think, oh, they think it's like, I feel like in layman's terms, because, you know, you go to these events, you go to Houston or Vegas, and you're just hearing the crowd that's walking around buying stuff, you know, what they're saying, and they think they're almost like carnies, you know, it's like, you know, it's an act, and the bull's just pretending to.
No, these are athletes.
And they just live there in a tent for a week, and I'm like, no, like they get in a car as soon as they get off that bull, and they're headed to another rodeo, and if they make the short round, they'll come back to this rodeo, and they're funding their whole trip. There's no, you know, people have sponsors, but that might break you even. You know, that's not extra income on top of it. Unless you're top 5 in the world in most events, you didn't really make any money that year. Right. They say the NFR is where a guy can actually put money in his pocket. You know, so it's a hard road, even on the collegiate level. You know, imagine telling a college basketball team or football team, it's like, hey, we'll see you in Chicago tomorrow. Drive from Southeast Oklahoma.
You got to get there yourself. Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen, you know. Right. Plus pulling a trade. I mean, there's so much work. So I really respect and honor the way of life and how they handle themselves, because it's not easy. It's hard. It's a hard road to, I guess, try to obtain glory in whatever you're doing.
Right. I've seen it might have been Jim Sharp on a podcast one day or something, talking about there's so many variables like in rodeo, and you got the animal, you got the man, you've got the arenas are different, the weather's different, the dirt's different. There's a lot of variables in there, and they got to be tough.
Oh yeah. Well, the
draw is going to happen.
Yes. Well, and that perseverance too, because I mean, I've got guys. I mean, most of my guys are down right now. Josh can't ride till April. I think Luke Casey can't ride till April or March. Trey's down right now. So I mean, my 3 main guys going are both down right now. And what's amazing, I've watched these guys, you know, get major hurt 3 or 4 times in the past 5 or 6 years. They take their licks, they heal up, and they go right back. And like, that's kind of insanity if you really think about it. So
They just bandage up, rub some
yeah,
dirt.
I mean, they heal up. They and obviously, it has to take a toll mentally.
Right.
It's like, oh, am I good enough? Oh, I keep getting hurt. Should I hang it up? Should I? And yet they're persevering through it. And I think now too, these guys are, they're realizing mental is important. They're all getting mental coaches, and even fitness wasn't a big thing back in the day too. And I think that's why kind of Lane had a leg up. Lane was obsessed with fitness.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. So like he'd run everywhere. Like if he was going from the house to the barn and it's a quarter mile, I mean, he'd run over there, do his chore, whatever, run back. Or my dad even told stories like he would be with him. So my dad and him had some bulls later in Lane's career together. And I don't know if they were hauling bulls or dad just happened to be with him, but he would tell stories of if they pulled over a gas station, Lane would jump out, jump rope, or the whole time they're driving, he'd have like a stress ball or a tennis ball. I mean,
Strengthen that right hand.
so he was really, a lot of these guys, they were living off, I'm tough and I can drink, and that's my path.
Drinking and smoking on the way.
And it worked for some guys, but a guy like Lane, he was little, he was 5'11", but he was 140 pounds, so, but he had weight in his favor, but you got to be strong to handle. You're getting the same concussion and hit that Tough Hedeman's getting. He's a big old dude for a bull rider versus Lane. So I think Lane knew he had to work a little harder. But back then, fitness wasn't in the rodeo realm. Fitness wasn't really.
They didn't push that, right?
And now, I mean,
they probably all got personal trainers and
most all our guys. I mean, they're elite with their fitness. I mean, Josh, it's funny. The events that when I used to go set up. All my guys were welcome. If I had an Airbnb or if I had a hotel room with enough beds or whatever, like, hey. Because, they're living in their car or past something, like, hey, come take a shower, take a nap, whatever. I mean, I'm gone all day at the booth anyway, so I let them take over. And in Austin, me and Josh got to hang out a little bit because that was a weird situation. That rodeo was like late at night at 7. The vending, I was in by the arena, so the vending was during the rodeo. So I'm free all day. So Josh comes and stays with me, and I just kind of got to be a fly on the wall and watch this process. And, he'd get up in the morning, he would eat breakfast, he would go work out, he would kind of, just chill, get his mind right. He would take a nap every day. He just had this process, and he liked to stick with it. He would, even when he was in Vegas and I'm, setting up either interviews for him or got a guy going to kind of shout him with a camera or something. I'm like, listen, you're going to have to go off. I'm going to connect you, but he's got a schedule and you're going to have to fit yourself in his schedule. Oh. So a lot of these guys have, kind of a ritual how they process their day. And then some of them, I've seen kids that, sleep all day and wake up an hour for the rodeo, go ride, and then go home, go back to bed. So
like JB Mooney.
They all take different. Yeah,
smoke a cigarette and get on the bull.
If you modeled your fitness rodeo career after JB, you would probably not make it.
Yeah, he's just freaking.
JB was a freak. His balance, that guy's balance. I've never seen a man with balance like that man has. I mean, if they could do a balance study, he's got something no one else has.
He's just one of those freak guys.
Yeah,
but most of them have to have nutrition plan, workout plan.
Yeah.
And they live in hotels.
Yes.
Especially the professional guys. They're hotel to hotel in big cities, downtown, New York City, Las Vegas, all these places that there's probably not access to really good nutritional food. And
yeah, that's where you got to make a choice, because it's easy to pop in the gas station and grab something. And, and you notice, you notice in the riding, you notice in their physique, you notice who's putting in the work and who's, I'm good looking and I'm tough. I can make it. And I just don't think that's enough anymore. And then on this front end side of the social media stuff, now being a good athlete isn't enough anymore. Now there's a demand. Even us as sponsors, we play off character more, and we want the guys to do the thing, but they got to put us out there that we do have this relationship. And it's hard because some guys are like, I just want a cowboy. And I'm like, you can, but if you need that getting down the road money and stuff, you're going to have some sponsors, and you're going to have to play the game.
Right.
And that's where, I think now
salesmanship.
So they're leaning into that. They're even having, I know that even PBR has a class now where it's like promoting yourself class. Yeah. Nice. So they're really starting to understand that the PR now is equally as important as the right, because you'll see guys that can't cover a lick, and it's like, how do they have all these sponsors? They're a good salesman.
Right.
But, you can be a great rider and win money that way, or do this and, fake it till you make it. Or if you would just, I'm going to do all this and figure it out. And the ones that do, look at them excel. I mean, you see who's, I would say Sage way back had figured it out early. He knew how to market himself and he knew how to ride. And when you put those together, dangerous. And that's what Lane was. Lane was dangerous.
Yeah.
He had the character, he had the riding ability, and he knew how to sell himself, so those
you see Lane on camera. He's got the big smile and he's you know, looking people in the eye and just smiling everywhere he goes.
Yep.
It's an attractive person.
Yep.
Yeah. You hate to see those jerks, even in any sport or anything like that.
Well, people clean, you know, like an infectious personality.
Yep.
You meet somebody and they come in a room and just like the room lights up, or everybody's like, oh, what are they going to say, or you know, how are they going to carry themselves, or what are they going to do? And some people just naturally have it, and some people have worked real hard for it, and some people just like, this is what you get, and too bad, you know. So
it's a good life lesson. That's like, even in business, just because you're good at your skill, your trade, you still have to. The messaging matters.
Yes.
The people skills matter. And how you treat others matters. Right? Even in your faith, it's constantly working on it. You can't, your faith just can't be on Sunday morning. It's all the time you're working on it, being intentional about it.
Yes. Well, that's what we were talking about at church Sunday. You know, a lot of people, you know, they check the box. You know, they'll go to church and it's like, well, I went to church Sunday. I listened to this guy talk for 30 minutes, wasting my time. I got something, you know, that counts for something, right? That's not enough. You know, if you're not living in the Word and reading and processing, you know, your own life, because, you know, I you know, people I run into that aren't religious or, you know, agnostic, whatever you want to call it, you know, whatever they want to be or whatever, you know, I tell them, I say, hey, just take this book and read it.
Yeah.
Just read it. You know, worst case scenario, something positive going to roll off on you on this book. And who knows, you may be a Christian one day. But look at this book as a guideline for life. I mean, every one of these scenarios, we're talking scenarios from, you know, thousands of years ago, that you're going through these same scenarios today. Because you know why? The human nature hasn't changed.
That's true.
It's just how we process things. So, no, that's a big part to all this is the faith background, and it synonymously gets promoted. Like we have the shirts. You know, we have a Beware of False Prophets hat and a shirt and a few other items, and then obviously the Bible. So, we try to sneak Jesus in as much as we can.
There you go. So. Yeah, I admittedly, you know, most of my life we grew up going to church. You know, but it wasn't something we studied and applied every night at that dinner table, or, you know, and so. And you know, in my younger years, I was a little more Saturday night than Sunday.
Oh yeah.
You know, we've all been there, but now, especially now that I have kids and I see the importance, and you know, and my faith is growing, and every day I'm just learning more. And
definitely,
you know, and I feed off other guys.
Yes,
the same way, and I do that in business, and that was kind of the whole, you know, the idea behind the podcast too.
That's cool.
We brainstorm, we hear the stories and how a guy scratched one out, and you know, the struggles, the daily struggles. So you deal with that in your faith every day. You're tested.
Oh, 100%. You know, I mean, a lot of people, they see the results of something and they don't see what it took to get to that moment. You know, like this has been a long, hard road. The nights, the weekends, the traveling, the events to sit. You know, you're in a 10 by 10 space for 10 to 14 days, and you don't see your family, and then you're still 6 hours from home on a drive and all this stuff. And this ain't nothing compared to a lot of people have worse. You know, there's traveling welders, there's these linemen, there's guys that have harder roads in life, but people just assume, oh, must be nice. They look at something, you know, and like, you know, growing in your faith and being a good man and being a good leader and a leader of your home and things like that, that's not easy. And to be remotely good at any of that, you have to try really hard, and no one sees that or wants to see it because, oh, must be nice. No, the must be nice is the time spent reading your Bible, is the time spent trying to lead your family. You know, that's what the biggest push with me is that's great. You're successful in your business world. How's home?
Right.
And that's where a lot of people get real quiet and they're like, oh, you know, hadn't hung out with my son in 2 years and he's 9, or, you know, me and my wife, we were roommates basically. You know, that no one's going to tell you the truth, but it's one of those deals like, you know, where you got holes in your game. We all do. Like, and that's the problem where a lot of people, they avoid the holes.
Right.
And I think everybody needs to lean into those, and I think everything else will get better.
You got to be humble enough to see your weaknesses and work on, be intentional about
100%.
Man, that brings up another good point, being successful in business. Athletes too. I mean, you're so busy trying to build this that you forget about mama and the kids at home, the baseball games, and doing what y'all do, living on the road a lot. I'm sure that's really tough.
Well, see, honestly, I retired from the road, so I haven't vended since 2023.
You have a team now that goes to shows and rodeos and things like that?
No. I tried that. We did it in Vegas a couple times, and just managing those crews. You know, last group I said I had 3 girls that went to Vegas for us, and they did a great job. But I set it up, and I had 3 girls that said, hey, y'all spread it out. This is 10 days. It's a marathon, 8 to 10 hours a day. Y'all rotate off. You know, one's off one day. You know, rotate it out for 10 days or half days. Swap half days.
Don't burn out.
I fly in day 7. All 3 of them have been sitting in that booth for 7 days. 10 hours. I'm like, I literally sent a playbook, like how to do this. And, you know, the burnout's setting in and it's just tough. And you got that. And then people will have deep questions or want to know more about Lane. And I can't take my brain out and give it to someone else.
Right.
And so I kind of put a halt on it. We're looking at maybe doing some more. It's just, but my kids and my wife were more important than a couple more bucks.
Sure.
You know, so we're in a blessed spot. Our sustainability is great. We don't have to travel, but yeah, are we leaving meat on the bone? Probably, but it's not worth that time away from my family. So something I've implemented is I quit traveling. If I can't finagle it to where they can go with me and, you know, we have a grandma or someone go and help, because that's something too, for you to be sharp for business and, you know, your wife's struggling with 3 kids in a hotel room, that's hard too.
Yeah.
And that adds an extra pressure to me. And I'm not on my game as much because I know they're struggling. And then flip it to they're in Oklahoma and I'm in Las Vegas. I'm missing them. My kids aren't sleeping well because they're missing me. I'm getting crying calls. Like, I just can't do that anymore. So no, we
live on the phone.
We quit that completely. And then I shut it down 4 to 5 every day, like every day. I'm on wife and kid time at that point. And that's what I do. I'm there till bedtime. We got jujitsu tonight. We'll go watch the boys jujitsu. Kate's got gymnastics. And we only do 2 days a week on that stuff. So we don't do all the T-ball. No. We don't murder them with activities. We try to have stuff consistent, and the gymnastics and the jiu-jitsu's there 2 days a week, no matter what. If they want to compete, we can go to something. If not, it's still there 2 days a week. You know, everything else has seasons, and you can't play football year round. You can't play baseball year round. And at their age, and families that have their kids just booked out, that's fine. That's great. That's to each their own. It's just, I think some home time and letting your kids see how the mother and the husband is supposed to interact and do things around your property. I think that's just as important as putting them in a sport.
Good point. These days, everyone's travel ball, league ball during the week, travel ball on the weekends, or whether it's competitive cheer,
eating dinner at a gas station or a public restaurant. Yeah. And again, to each their own. And, you know, some kids are savants and they're going to be the next big thing, and that's great. But 1 in 1,000 kids make it Division I in any sport. Right. I mean, that's the reality, you know.
Yeah. And all of us are going to grow up to be adults.
Yes. And usually you have a job and you have to function and you have to keep a home. But if you're never home, how are you ever going to grow up to learn how to take care of a home?
Man.
And it ain't just the physicality of keeping the home clean. It's what a home is, you know. So no,
did you see the wisdom early on to build? That's where you're to get this business to where you could incorporate your wife, kids, the family time. Were you intentional about that was the goal?
I didn't have kind of a roadmap. You know, I was like I said, my mom and my dad were never married. And then I had a stepfather. Mom and stepdad fought a lot. Like I said, I was telling you recently, my mom literally got out of prison last Friday for beating somebody up. She was in there for 2 years. So I mean, I again, you know, they think, oh, silver spoon. I'm like, hey, listen, I've been on both sides of the track.
Right.
You know, I'm on the side of the track now where I've worked my tail off and I've been blessed enough and I can help others and do those things. But I was the poor kid. I graduated high school at 300 pounds. I mean, I was obese. I was miserable. I was just in a bad. I thought that was my future. I'm watching my mother and my stepfather. And I'm like,
right.
Oh, I got a lot to look forward to. So
I got to break this cycle.
Generational curse. So my grandfather's a pastor, and I was super close to him. I mean, that was my best friend. And he died of cancer at 70 in 2019. So literally this process here, I hope I don't tear up, but this process here. So he's got cancer, and I mean, it takes even 6 months. It was one of those find out, gone. And so we go to Thanksgiving, and I've got to leave for Vegas the next morning for the finals. And we both know he's dying. He knows he's dying. I know he's dying. Like, I'm not going to see him again after tonight. He knows it, and I know it. So we sit down and we talk. He's kind of hanging out in the back room. He's kind of not staying away. He's just frail, can't do anything. So he's in the back room, and I go back there and we talk a little bit. And he just bald-faced tells me, he says, Stetson, you got to break generational curses in our family.
You know, there.
And he wasn't there. He wasn't present. He was, you know, some pastors, you know, get burdened with the fact they got to be married to the church. And he wasn't present for his children. He was tending to everybody else's needs. And at fruition, you know, when they grew up, there was some brokenness because dad wasn't present and those things happened. So he he knew that I think that was his burden as he's fleeting and he's processing his life again. He knew where he messed up, and he's basically throwing that back at me, saying, "Hey, you got to break this.
Change this, huh?
And even before that, I was, super close to my wife and my son. At the time, I only had our one son. We got 3 kids now. But that haunted me. Like,
That
I'm like,
recalibrated you.
what is he saying there? What is this curse he's talking about? So he tells me that, and then we sit there, and he's like, "Are you ready to let me go?" And I'm like, "No." And he knew, and I knew. So I'm in Vegas 3 days, and I get the call. He died. So, but that has like propelled me to be
Like family focused first.
Yeah, I don't care if I have to go get a 9 to 5 and this fails. Like this is important for the fact that the Bible ministry is stuff, but this is flesh. This is all flesh. This has no meaning in the end game. So that's what I focus on is my wife, my kids, our relationship with God, and this, and I feel like these blessings from this are rolled over from what I'm doing at home.
Right.
That's what I think. So
Yeah. When you guys started out talking about this business, did you always have this little warehouse here, or
no? So
how did this all come about?
So we live in a little shop house next door right now. I bought this. My Aunt Robin helped me buy the place years ago. A little 60 by 30 next door. We were living in it, and I started the business in a spare bedroom in Oklahoma City. Literally, I had a couple sleeves of hats. And when we moved back down here, I just converted the little shop area into a little warehouse, and it was like 20 by 22, and ran it in there for probably 3 years. And I'm talking like, this is probably too much information, but I mean, it'd be August. I had no heat in there. I'm in there in my underwear, like filling orders, sweating, just, getting it done the best I could. And we would get shipments in. And at this point, I'm carrying 5, 6, 7,000 hats in this little 20 by 20 room. Wow. So shipment would come in. I'd go out on the porch after dark and condense, because they'd put like 24 hats in the box, but I could fit 30. So I'd condense and get rid of about 15, 20 boxes. And that don't sound like a lot, but when you have no space, that's a lot of space. So I would narrow it down and get it down. And then I kind of thought of the process of the business was like, it's like a koi pond. That fish can only grow as big as its environment.
Right.
And I was thinking, okay, if I can grow my facility, I can grow my business. Because I was just bursting seams. I couldn't keep up with nothing. I mean, you're literally like squeezing through shells to get to hats, and it was hard. And I had hired a couple of people by then, because I ran it the first 5 years by myself. And I'd hired a couple of people, so they'd come in and work their hours, and I made sure they had, it was nice and the climate was okay.
You got an air conditioner with that?
Any late or night stuff, I would do that. Or even now, like if there's a crap job to sweep or mop, or
That's you, huh?
I'll do it. Like I'm not. And even, if they get real busy, and if I ever hear any, this is hard, I'm all right. So they'll leave, and I will fill orders all night. I'll call them the next day and say, "Hey, you're off." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I did it all. Like,
Yeah.
It's
tedious,
but it's not hard. No, because I did it. I mean, you ever seen that commercial with the Domino's Speed Pizza Box Builder? The dude, I can line them up. I can build 1,000 boxes in less than an hour. So, but yeah, so we started over there, and I actually went to a bank and asked them. I said, "Hey, this is what I want to do." Like, what are we gonna do with a bunch of hats? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you do with dental equipment?
Right.
What do you tell a dentist when he wants to open an office? Well, that's a little different. I'm like, is it? I said, my P&L, I promise you, is better than his. So I show them. They're like, oh yeah, that's pretty. I'm like, well, you're not comparing apples to apples.
Right.
You're looking at me, a poor little local boy, and you won't even. So I said, all right, I see what you're doing here. So I self-funded it. I just pinched pennies on the business. Slowly built this facility next door. Now we got 2 stories, almost 7,000 square foot of warehouse facility downstairs. Upstairs, we got offices and all this, and all on just being smart with the money.
Have you? Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing too, just families in America and everything. Like, times get tough, things get tight, interest rates, the government, the world, whatever. But we have a spending problem.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, we have we have the opportunity to have financial freedom, but we're all financially illiterate as a whole. And that is the true thing. I mean, you'll see people that, nothing wrong with what you live in, but like, I've never understood this, because even when I was poor, I still like to mow my yard and take care of my stuff. It's like there's an unsung deal. It's like, oh, I'm poor? Well, I ain't gonna take care of nothing either.
Right.
What is that?
Have some pride in your...
Well, okay, yeah, your house needs to be painted and stuff, but you can still mow your yard. You can still put the trash in a bag, not just throw it in the yard. I mean, like, that's what I've never understood, the concept. It's like, don't waller in your situation. You can still be in a situation and have good things in that situation.
That's a good point.
I mean, when I was a child, I was poor, but my yard looked good because the house inside was miserable. So I would beg stepdad to get me a can of gas, and I'd mow and weed eat and pluck because I could stay outside the house. I didn't want to be in there.
That's a good point.
So, but
People could take, even if you can save money, even if you're only bringing home $1,000 a month.
Yes.
Save $20 for a rainy day, and
for real.
you can dress.
Yep.
You can mow your lawn, keep your car clean.
Well, and even watching my childhood and like reflecting on it, it's like we ate out more than people that could afford to eat out.
Right. Yeah. I see so many people.
My mom would go to Walmart every Tuesday or Friday, whatever new movies come out, she'd buy 4 or 5 of them. I'm like, we don't have the money for that.
Right.
I mean, as a poor child, I live more frivolously than I do now, and I can afford to be frivolous, and I don't.
You don't.
So,
you don't buy 10 partners every time you stop at a gas station.
My wife's like we could call her Dr. Quinn because she's Miss Holistic. She always get a cough, she'll pump you full of something. She does her own sourdough. I haven't bought bread in 5 years.
Nice. Yeah.
We grow our own veggies and stuff like that. So we're pretty self-sustaining. And then, we buy beef from some friends that either have boutique beef that sell their own beef and stuff like that. So we kind of a little off grid on that. And I mean, we might eat out once a week, and that depends on our evening schedule, but we got the kids go to jiu-jitsu on Tuesday. We got church Wednesday, jiu-jitsu on Thursday, and church on Sunday. And we have pretty much Fridays and Mondays. That's our evenings to ourselves. And Saturday is always a birthday party.
Right.
Kids always got a friend's birthday party.
Yeah. When you got 3 kids, you got somewhere to
a lot of birthday parties. So, but no, like it just kind of dumbfounded me how people approach life in any situation. I think whatever situation you're in, you can find good in it or you can make good out of it, but people choose not to.
Man, that's a good point. That victimhood mentality too, and like the way you grew up, most people just stay in that cycle.
Yeah, I had a chip. I mean, I thought, this is as good as it's going to get, and even the race thing. I had a lot of black friends in school, and the wealthy people in town would give them clothes and stuff. And I'm like, well, that must be nice. I'm like, they're always like, oh, well, and I'm like, and I ain't got a race spell on my body. I had a lot of black friends in school. Like, I don't see color. I don't care. If you're a good person, you're a good person.
I'm poor too. Give me some clothes.
But it was funny. It was like, they would go out, like, get them brand new Nikes and stuff. And I'm like, I'm just as poor as him, but I'm white. So they're not focusing on me. It was just kind of funny. It's like, your apartment is nicer than our house that we have to pull 13 buckets out every time it rains. And
Dang.
I'm sitting there talking to friends, stomping roaches so they don't see them because I'm embarrassed of them. You open your closet and there's a snake in it. Like, that's what I lived in.
You knew early on, I'm breaking this.
Yes. So, but it was just kind of funny. It's like, I was poorer than the poor kid you're providing for, but it was weird, man.
I think maybe there's something humbling about growing up that way because you want something better.
Oh, definitely.
You see you want something better for your kids. Definitely. Hopefully you're teaching them to be humble and appreciative and still have work ethic. I talk to that. We talk about that a lot on the podcast, especially for successful people, and especially when you want to pass down a business. How do you keep your kids? Your kids won't have the same hunger you did because they didn't grow up.
Already I joked to my wife. I was like, they're pampered. I don't like what I'm hearing here. They're pampered. And our deal is too, like, we don't buy them toys hardly. We don't. They have their chores they have to do each week.
Really?
Or each day. They have a list of chores. They have a 10 list. Wife has this cute little dry erase board with tickers and chart. So they come check it and they go do the next one.
Like that.
So they do that every day. And it's my boys. They're 5 and 7. Our 3-year-old, please just pick up a toy. You know what I mean, at this age. But we have them doing that, and then past the chores. You don't pay for chores. Chores that's breathing. That's taking out the trash. Like, you have to do those to function. Make your bed, all that. What we offered after that is gigs. We have a $1, $3, $5, and $10. And $10 ain't easy. It's like clean mom's whole car, like wash it and vacuum it. Like it's like $100 job for $10, So
that's a good.
So we have that, and like our oldest, he'll get a $27 check on a Friday, and my wife will like bring them a receipt, and they get paid, and they know what's in their little account. Like, we really push that on them. And something we've done recently, because again, all the birthday parties and stuff, it's like, no, if you want to go to this birthday party, you're paying for the gift. So we're going to see if this is a friend or you just want to go to a birthday party.
Right, yeah.
And now it's like
$5 or 20.
Yep. And then it's kind of funny because we see which girls he likes better because he wants to spend a little more money on
nice.
Size. It's kind of funny, but no, and we really try to promote that because I know my kids do have a leg up versus me.
Yeah.
I was just happy to be there. I don't remember ever going to the store with my mom and crying for a toy or whining or anything. And it's not that mine do that, but like, they're not as grateful because they don't have to be.
But they're learning the value of that dollar.
Well, I know we can teach them money skills and finance. And even Harrison, what's that cost, Dad? And he's like, well, how can I afford that? I said, well, we can save up for it. Yeah. Or he'll be like, I want to buy this. And I'm like, well, that's $40. That's going to put a pretty big dent in your deal. And he's like, why don't you just get this and save something? And, so we it's funny, we have these deeper conversations about that stuff. And I heard something the other day, and it kind of rings true. It's like people that are trying to grow, you don't hear them talk about politics.
Right.
You know why? Because those politics don't help my growth.
Right.
Those whatever's going on in the world, I can't change it. If it's not directly affecting me, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
Other than gripe and then pick a side. The funniest parts of me on the political side, that's like in the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. You hate them because they like the Dallas Cowboys, and you hate them because they like the Chiefs. Ain't no different in politics.
Right.
But the deal is if you're driven and focused and trying to do self-growth, that spare time to turn on CNN or Fox News or whatever, you shouldn't have it.
Right.
So
just don't watch the news.
Yeah, it's kind of because it's doom and gloom.
Yeah.
But I heard that as they said, no, the people that are griping about politics the most, they're poor-minded.
Right.
Because they're not
looking for that victimhood.
They're looking for a reason to gripe about something versus looking for a reason to grow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that again, growing up, it sounds like we kind of grew up a little bit alike. So it's like, yeah, it's somebody else's fault that we were poor.
Yep.
It's somebody else's fault I can't get into this school. It's somebody else's fault I can't get that job. My dad didn't work there. I can't get that job. You got to break that thinking.
Yep.
And then, like you said, there's so many people, they're living on their credit card.
Yep.
They're in debt. Just like our nation's in debt, people are in debt.
Oh, 100%.
Everybody's got $20,000, $50,000 in credit card debt, eating out 5 nights a week.
Yep. And then your situation, whatever that situation is, it can still be fruitful. People just choose not to take any fruit out of it. They just keep taking till there's nothing left.
And that's what be intentional, right?
You do. I mean, you can drive around this town here and 30% of people here take care of their yards.
Right.
And it's like, why is that? One, we all need idle hands, so we all need stuff to do.
Right.
So, you and anybody just looking at a screen all the time, that's terrible for your dopamine, for your mind, for even just the pressure on your eyes and stuff. It's just, there's so many negative things of that. It's like, why don't you go outside and pull some weeds, get some sunlight.
Some natural.
Yeah, they'll go to the store and buy an energy drink that supposedly produces sunlight in the drink, but they won't go stand out in it. So it's just, we live in an odd world.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like you're doing a pretty good, you're trying to be intentional about raising your kids and a little bit different away from screen time and
trying to be, oh yeah, no, we don't. And you got to earn screen time at our house, and there's a timer. I mean, it goes off, and it's, our kids, we'll do family movie once a week, and that's usually me picking, and and it was funny. I came to this realization. We got deep into like John Wayne movies and stuff.
Nice.
And we're watching them, and my son's like, Dad, what are they always drinking? And I'm like, well, that's whiskey, son. And I'm sitting there thinking, he's like, what's that in their mouth all the time? And I'm like, cigarette. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is why all these guys in the 70s and 80s did nothing but drink alcohol and smoke, because all the heroes, that's all they did. So it was kind of,
saw the Marlboro Man was the coolest guy.
Yes. So it's kind of funny. It took me, I was like, that all makes sense now, like processing why,
setting a better example, right?
And then you get into the 90s, all the heroes were buff, and they didn't do any of that. You didn't see Arnold Schwarzenegger drinking hardly in his movies. You didn't see Sylvester Stallone or Jean-Claude Van Damme or any of those guys. And I think we need to get back to heroes like that, heroes that are really trying to be, and not necessarily like those guys, but hardworking men that have put themselves in a place to be the hero.
Right. Men of faith, men of family, men of fitness, they're watching their bodies.
Definitely.
I'm setting a good example.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
I was talking to a guy one time on some finance stuff, and I'm one of those, I like to hear people out. So I'm sitting there, I'm hearing his pitch. He's giving me this pitch. And I heard something later on. It said, basically, if you look at a person and you can tell, excuse me, they're not there for themselves, how would they be there for you? Mm. And that night, I'm sitting there processing what this guy's telling me, and how I can, this retirement plan does this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, okay, this guy's sitting in his living room, and his living room looks like it's 1975 in the background. He can barely breathe, and he's about 400 pounds. That guy's not going to be there for me.
Right.
He ain't there for himself. So I was like, well, go ahead and send this paper over. I want to look at what you did. So he sends this stuff over. Everything he said, this is like 30, 40% off of what he said in this paperwork. And I was like,
he didn't have his details together.
No, it was either a sham or he just overspoke. So I explained it to him. He's like, oh, I'll get back to you. Man never got back to me. So after that moment, I take that in consideration. If I'm dealing with somebody, it's like, are they there for themselves? Are they there for their family? Because if you won't be there for your wife, you dang sure ain't gonna be there for some guy you got a business deal with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
now you're able to be selective about the relationships you're
very
building with.
selective.
That's a good point. Yeah. If they don't, if they don't look like they put together and take care of themselves, then how are they going to take care of their business?
Yeah. And I ain't saying I'm no superhero.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I got the chubby dad bod, but I know I can go out there and run a mile, and
Sure.
I can take care of myself if I need to.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm striving for more, but I'm not selling this in a way that, oh, I've got it all figured out. I mean, I've always struggled with weights, so that's something. But we're always a work in progress, and people that aren't trying to progress, that's where you can get into some dark times really quickly.
Sure. Well, some of these other, we didn't go through like your cowboy hustle, the rodeo hustle. What are these other things you're working on?
So, you know,
how did they come about?
We started Lane Frost brand, and obviously that's like a vehicle from Uncle Lane. Lane created this crazy path in this road, and now we provide the vehicle, which is the ball cap. You know, that way, and again, back to the role model thing. I just don't think there's a lot of good role models out there. So I figure Lane's the least of the worst. You know what I'm saying? So that has grown, and like I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur, as I heard that once, and I can't stop. So I'd always wanted to kind of create another line, and someone told me one time, you can't do it. You know, you basically, I got bucked, and I was like, all right. So I started Cowboy Hustle. It's already taken off in wholesale. It's already taken off in retail. We've already got famous people wearing it. So it's moving. We're about 1.5 years in on it, and it's been fun. And it broadens the spectrum. You know, people think Lane Frost brand, I got to be a bull riding fan. No, you don't. You can be a fan of good character. You can be a fan of hard work. You can be a fan of Jesus, whatever that you want that to be. But I thought Cowboy Hustle would open our scope more. It's broader. It's more. Now we're just leaning into men hustling. Right. You know, that's the process with it. And then on the Rodeo Hustle media, so we bought all this camera equipment to do photo shoots and commercials for the brand. And I noticed, I'm like, okay, I'm sitting on all this money on this equipment, and it's not really doing much else for us, but 6-8 times a year. So my brother that I'd hired in, that does basically, he builds all our advertisements, our content. We have a marketing team that pushes everything out, and they build some stuff, but he basically is doing, brand direction. He's helping us, he's coming up with new art and new deals. And so he's catalyst in a lot of the art that's coming out. But with the Rodeo Hustle Media, we've shot a couple music videos. We have guys in here that do acoustic sets. We just recently did a commercial for a construction company. The last album, Turnpike Troubadour, put out the dog on the cover. My brother went out and shot that at
that's cool,
at Evan's place. He hung out with Evan all day and shot with him, so it was a really cool time. And then we knew there was kind of a miss at the college rodeo level. We didn't feel like a lot of college rodeo teams had good sponsors or a helping point, outside of, this is a college rodeo program. And what people don't realize is Nike, Adidas, all these big companies, they'll come in and they will do a massive contract with a college for their sports. Well, rodeo is considered a club. It's not a sport, so they don't get a dime.
Really?
They don't get any extra.
They don't get a share of any of that?
Nothing. They don't get a free Nike pullover, nothing.
Wow.
They do not. And nothing on Nike, it's just how it's structured. They got rodeo as a club.
Right.
So the club has to fund itself. So we get out there, and I'm looking at facilities. I meet the coach, good guy, and I'm like, man, I think this is something we want to put some money behind and help this program. So we started doing that, and then I looked at it like a way, like, okay, how are we allowed to promote Oklahoma State? And I knew I couldn't make a hat unless I had to deal with the university. So we do it's kind of basically like an NIL for the university type deal. So we sign up and we become a vendor, and
so you have a licensing.
We have a license agreement with Oklahoma State now that we can produce hats for any program. The university itself gives us some free range to go shoot content, things like that. And I'm a big fan of combat sports. So the wrestling program was very interesting to me. I wanted to just see it. I just want to be a fly on the wall and watch.
OSU wrestling, big time.
Big time. Yeah, conveniently, it's the best program in the country. Always has been. So we met Coach Smith and was working with him a minute, and then David gets the job. And in the meantime, the assistant coach was a Coleman Scott. Shout out to Coleman. He's got the farm. He has a private academy now, basically, and does wrestling classes and stuff, and he's doing amazing. But he was there at the time. But they brought David Taylor in as the head coach. Well, we had already kind of built some rapport with the other coaches, and we were going to do something. And my brother Dylan, he's like, what are we going to do? And I was like, I got this. I said, well, I'll just call David. He's like, how you going to call David? So before David had won, went to the Olympics and won, we had built some rapport. We had talked, and he was a fan of Lane's, and I'd sent him some hats.
Okay.
So I had his number on my phone all this time.
Nice.
So I just cold called David, said, David, let's do something. So we started sending him some stuff, and then David had this idea of a name, the Stilly Boys. So we just created this whole nother line with Stilly Boys, and it's outside the university, but that promotes the university.
Sure.
And so now we can push the Stilly Boys in the Oklahoma State collection. Everybody wins. Everybody gets their cuts. It's a beautiful thing. And then we also did the documentary a few years back, and that's been a great catalyst. We've it created new fans for Lane. They got to see the true story of Lane, because 8 Seconds, they Hollywoodified it. There was no religion. Elsie pushed for Lane's being saved in it. They weren't going to have that. So this documentary got to tell Lane's real story. So it was really cool. Brad Hughes at Tough Draw just did a bang-up job. I mean, he did an amazing job, and it's we still have it on. It's on pay-per-view on lanefrost.com. Go there, rent it, and then we're actually going to start. We've had a lot of rodeos reach out wanting to show it. So I think we're going to have some more viewings again. We got some stuff like that coming up. And then kind of snowballed on the property side. So I got Frost Properties.
Yeah.
And that started with, we built a house for a manager at the time. And my wife had always wanted Airbnbs. And I was like, I ain't messing with that. It's just like, I don't need that in my life. But so we had this house we built for a manager. He left and then decided he didn't want the house either. So I'm like, okay, I'm stuck with this house we built. So we turned to an Airbnb, and it was a God thing because Rebus had just came in at the time, so there was a big boom. So we Airbnb'd it a few years, did well, and then we did see a dip off over time. The new wore off, and Rebus is consistent, but it wasn't enough because there's probably 5 or 6 Airbnbs in this small town, and
right.
People are they're used to hotels, so they're gonna go there first. So I made a deal with a battery plant here. And they had engineers coming in, so we did a deal with that. And then after that, I ran that a course of a year, and then I was like, I just want to sell it. So we sold the house, and then I bought a building downtown. So I've been, kind of buying some stuff and flipping it. I've got a few land deals that we have that we move around. So like I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I can't stop, and I've got 6, 7 things going on. I'm GCing my own house. I'm a glutton for punishment, man. But you've learned a lot. You put yourself in a situation that you don't know what's going on, and it forces you to rise. If you're willing to, it forces you to rise, forces you to learn things and figure things out. And I just look at it as constant growth.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just kind of how I've approached life, as in, I can't do it now, but give me some time and I'll figure it out. So, and I've built a lot of relationships with these contractors because we built the warehouse, we built the Airbnb, and then now we're doing our own house. So I've built a lot of relationships. I have this nice, basically, catalog of names and people that we can work with. And
so you see that the property's growing and stuff, like whether rental or just building and selling houses.
Yeah, we've flipped a few things. I've watched some, like, I've got a few mentors around here, some older gentlemen, and they've what I love about them is too, I can sit down with them and they tell me where they failed and where they wish they would have changed things or things they did well or things like that. So it's really nice because it's not a just, oh, you got a big bank account, tell me about that. Right. No, it's life derivative, like how their life went and what things they would change or, stay away from these strongholds in life and things like that. But I noticed some people, they accumulate a lot of assets, and assets are great, but assets don't pay the bills unless that asset's bringing in money.
Gotta be cash flowing, right?
Cash flow, big time. So I noticed, I built up several assets, and I'm like, okay, great, I have these assets. So, woohoo, I can tell, hey, I own this. Well, if it's not fruitioning money, what's the point of it? So I have kind of reevaluated that young because I see these, what happens is you get 65, 70 years old, you got all these assets. Well, you're not working like you used to.
Right.
And Social Security ain't going to cut it. And if you don't have a lot of either rentals or something with a lot of income coming in, it can hinder you. Because you're paying property taxes, and if it needs to be heat and air, you're going to have utilities on because things just wear out if they don't have heat and air, things like that. So I'm in this place now where, I look at land more than I do a facility, because if that facility can't be rented out quickly, or if I can't figure out a way for it to churn money, I just kind of stay away from it.
Right.
So here lately, I've just been more focused on land assets, and then just trying to find a way to navigate those, whether I can break something up and sell it, or wait something out till there's a better opportunity to do something else with it. But yeah, cash flow is king, and I just see that, and like I'm big into retirement and everything. And that's what people they see this, and I'm like, it does well, but it doesn't do as well as I've done for myself, because I've read the books, I've done the investing. Like our house we're building, people are like, oh, wow. And I'm like, well, like those 10 years you were at the bar, I wasn't.
You
I was at home.
learning.
I was working. I was learning. So I'm sharpening my skills and you're over here doing yours. So that's where the difference is. And I don't, I got a few guys my age that I talk with and stuff. There's not many because most of them they're 10 years behind me on what they're trying to process life at, you know.
They took a little longer.
They took the longer road. So
some of us are hard-headed.
we are.
We don't learn as early.
No.
Yeah. Well, how on your like Lane Frost brand, Cowboy Hustle, Rodeo Hustle, your Oklahoma State collection, all these have separate websites? Are they all in one?
So everything's under one. Everything's under lanefrost.com. I set them all up in a way where they can be tailorable or movable. Like Cowboy Hustle's a standalone. We just run it through there.
Okay.
Stilly Boy's a standalone. It just runs through there. Frost Properties, we just post on social media. Most everything I do is behind the scenes. I don't really promote that much. The documentary, promote that from the website too. So pretty much everything's a one-stop shop. Lanefrost.com is where we have everything at. Yeah.
Okay. And if they want the Bibles,
same thing. Lanefrost.com. You go to the Bible and take it up time you want, between 10 and under, and free, pay shipping. I mean, it's very simple. Yeah.
Well, we kind of talked about your family life and what y'all do on your time off. Do you have much time for books or podcasts or?
So, when I traveled more, I had a lot of time for audiobooks or podcast stuff. I don't as much, but I try to read my Bible every day. I've got 2 or 3 books I'm into. We're building our house. I'm actually going to have like a big shelf, 4 books. So I've been slowly accumulating my collection.
I saw that on social media.
Yeah. So I've been slowly accumulating my collection. Yeah. I got recently I've read it, but I wanted a copy. So I got Old Man the Sea. I bought Art of War. You know, I've read a little bit of it, but not very much. And the hard part is like I'll get 2 or 3 books going, and I'll have a book here at the warehouse to kind of get into. I have a book by my bed to get into, so I kind of have stuff sporadic. But
you're so busy, it doesn't give you a lot of extra
because
watching time.
When you gotta wear 2 hats every day, and that's the business hat, and then when you go home, you gotta wear the family hat. And like I'll pull it. I'll be at the house working with contractors and stuff, and I'll pull in at 4 or 5 o'clock. And I'm like, all right. I got to sign myself up for those guys, like I got to be sharp for those guys. I don't want to come in, a hard day, because then my kids will reflect that. They'll be like, I had a hard day. Like 7 years old, you don't even know what a hard day is.
Right.
You need to just go till you can't. So,
but you have to leave your work worries at home, right?
You got to switch it.
Be there.
You got to switch it. I talk to my wife about stuff. And that's something too. My wife's not in the dark about nothing. I mean, any business decision, and she's one of those too. She's got a good intuition, even if she'll meet someone, she's like, something right about them. Yeah, it's a big deal. So I'm like, okay. So I heed her warnings. I listen to her, she's my confidant, she's my partner. So I make sure that she's involved in everything, because at the end of the day, if it affects me, it affects her.
Sure.
So, but yeah, so the downtime to read or anything extra, I have to sneak off because my sons are on me. Like I can't get on the floor, I'm getting attacked. Like just one of those deals. We're always wrestling or fighting or,
cool.
Out in the backyard or playing Army. We got magnetized. We built this huge fortress this past weekend, so we're always doing something. But,
well, your kids are at the fun age.
Yeah, they are.
It goes out too fast.
Yeah, they're not mouthy yet, so that's
yes. Well, we've talked a lot of good life lessons and stuff. Is there anything like a quote or a individual person, like you said, deep diving in your Bible and you can learn lessons? For me, it's like Proverbs. Mm-hmm. That guy that they talk about in Proverbs.
No, I agree. Proverbs is huge. I mean, that's just like, you could read 5 a day and it's just a life lesson after life lesson. My wife and her women's group, they had recently went through James, and I read James a long time ago, just straight through. And obviously you have bits and pieces in your mind of scriptures, through years, but I have recently dove back into James, and I feel like that's a chapter a lot of people avoid.
Yeah.
Just because that's it. It's telling you life how it is and how you need to run it. And, people want to tailor and move. Oh, I'll just take that part out. I like this part, so.
It'll call you out.
It will. So James, if a man needs some reflection on who he is, he needs to throw James back in his face.
Dig into James, huh? Well, that's cool. Where's y'all's favorite place to eat?
Oh, obviously we love El Adobe. That's my in-law's place. It's Mexican, but it's like Arizonan style. So El Adobe, there's several good Mexican places. There's several good, Reba's is good. But like I said, we probably eat out once or twice a month.
Y'all are homebodies.
We're homebodies.
In her sourdough.
Yeah, she is in her our homesteading area. So we do a lot of that. We cook a lot. I like to cook, so we'll kind of tag team the cooking, and that's why we're so excited to have a kitchen that's not 200 square foot.
Yeah.
Like we can't even walk in there. Like it's
Now you'll have bigger and better resources there a little bit.
Oh yeah, so there's 5 of us in 900 square foot. Yeah, and it's tight.
You're ready for some.
Yeah, well, and it's so hard. Like you can't keep the house clean because like the living room is the playroom. Like there's a shelf in there with all the toys. So like open the door and like just try to make it to the next room, you know. So it's
Needed better living quarters there.
one day.
Well, anything else we didn't cover that you wanted to touch on? I think we pretty much covered.
Oh man, I think we hit everything. You know, I would like to, you know, kind of shout out my team. I'm blessed to have a good team. My downstairs team. We got Joe, Wyatt, Corey, Maddie downstairs. They do an amazing job. Dylan that does all our graphics, and he does the photo shoots and the content. He builds the content and, you know, comes up with designs and stuff. He does a great job, and I'm thankful and blessed, man. I mean, you wake up every day and you can decide it's going to be a good day or a bad day, and I try to choose the latter and be the good day every day. So
be intentional about it.
Blessed to be here, man.
Yeah. Well, it's been a cool story. I really appreciate it. You know, it's nice that you can honor your family too. It's nice that Oklahoma story, you know, and you talk about the hard work behind your family and the struggles. Not everything was easy too, you know, and that's why I named this the Frontier Mindset Podcast. And everybody knows Oklahoma was the frontier, the land run. You had to take a chance. You had to take a risk. You had to work hard to survive. And I love those stories. And I love a story about scratching out a business and
Definitely
the good days, the hard days.
Oh yeah.
So, man, I
But
appreciate.
if it weren't for bad days, we wouldn't have good ones, you know.
Man, that's right. Makes you appreciate the good days.
Yes, sir.
You know, or the hard days. Yeah. So, all right. Well, y'all go check out Lane Frost brand, Cowboy Hustle, Rodeo Hustle, the Oklahoma State collection. Can all be found through lanefrostbrand.com. Check them out on social media, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, Stetson.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.